Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and try a flight that I did earlier today, and I realized that the I don't know, the GPS was bad, and I just kept flying in one particular direction, and it just didn't work out. So let's go with Atlanta. Gonna park at one of these fancy parking spaces over here, and I'm in the Beechcraft, which has a range of over here. So I think this is the place that I've been trying to go, Monroe, MLU. So I'm going to arrive here, and I'm really digging the ILS flying. So here's the automatic approach. I recommend not doing automatic. Actually choose the runway that, or the route that you want to take, because when I loaded it up, I couldn't tell which ILS it was using, 4 or 22. I made a couple guesses, and it looked like 22 was the one that it was that was doing. So if I do 4, that's 2 hours and a half, and I come in, and then basically from the I'm landing in from this side. Since I'm already coming in from the east, I'll just want to land on the 22. Alright, and you can see 22 seems more natural. So that's the route that I'm going to take. So the problem that I ran into was this, and I didn't realize it. So I took off. Basically, it takes you off in going east, and then at some point you're supposed to turn around and then start heading west. And I was following GPS, and it just kept going. And I was doing other stuff. I was on my tablet, I was doing stuff, so I didn't really pay attention. So I'm like almost out here before I realized I was like way over here, and I was like, something's wrong. So I got off autopilot because I was almost out of gas on my left wing. So I was out for a while, and I was like, there's no way that I can make it back to here. So I ended up landing the plane at some random airfield just to record my flight. But I realized that, okay, I have to pay attention to the autopilot. So I think I figured out how to change not my approach, the next waypoint, because I think it was stuck. So I was able to get it to start looking at the next waypoint. So, alright, it looks like it's still recording, which is great, because there was one recording I did where it didn't happen. So now I'm just very cautious. Alright, so this is my hometown airport. So it's been neat getting to learn this place. I used to think it was so difficult. It was so complicated, but really what it boils down to is that they have I think they have 4 lanes that planes take off and land on, but there's so many gates, and it's the gates that were really wild. So I'm on the Xbox. I'm using my left bumper and the directional pad. So this is the down, and when you go to the right or left, it's either the next view. If you go back to the left, it's the previous view. And sometimes it glitches out. You just have to keep going back. There's a lot of nuances with playing on the Xbox. So I was trying to get here so I can turn on my battery. I still don't know what the alternator does, but I'll have to look it up someday. And they always have these lights on, and I don't need any of these right now. So in order to conserve my fuel, I'm not going to turn on the engine just yet. I like a little bit of realism, so let's co-pilot. Let's go ahead and put my weight in kilograms. Co-pilot. I mean, there's a picture of a co-pilot all the time. So I'm just gonna say that there's one here today. Oh, that's interesting. There seems to be... Let's reset it. That doesn't make sense to me. Alright. I'm a big boy. Alright, so we have 75 liters of fuel. Alright, seems okay. I don't know why there's 31 messages already. What did I miss? Was that for my last session? That was weird. Alright, so when you do a... what do they call it? When you do a flight plan from the world map, I'm pushing N on my keypad to get the nav log. They do give you this neat little nav log. I don't use it. I try and use the instruments that are here. Alright, so let's go ahead and register our ILS flight. You always do that with clearance. We're requesting IFR clearance.
Land to clearance delivery Beechcraft November 42 Juliet Alpha ready to copy IFR clearance.
I love the the minor activity that are on each of them. So cool.
Is cleared to Monroe Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 right climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure frequency is 125.7 squawk 0324.
Alright, so I'm going to read back clearance.
Beechcraft November 42 Juliet Alpha cleared to Monroe Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 8 right climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Departure on 125.7 squawk 0324.
13,000. So I've gotten this...
Contact ground on 121.75. Good day.
So I'm going to end up contacting ground on 127, which will be on this side, the comms. So I'm not ready for that yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. Alright, so 13,000. Was that right? 13,000, okay. So I've gotten the plane as high as 16,000, but not the 13. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my view. I'm going to mess with this altitude here. And there goes one of the glitches. I just hit right on the thumbstick, the right thumbstick, and it just jumped all the way to the max value. So sometimes that sometimes it works fine and sometimes it doesn't. I either have to like kind of tap it, or I try to long press, kind of like hold it all the way to the right, and it kind of jump starts properly. And I'm going to the hundreds, so 13,000. I'm going to use the FLC mode. I've been enjoying this one because it takes the airspeed into consideration. So I'm going to put my, as I change the airspeed, it goes up. It goes up here. So 100 knots, I guess. I don't remember the readings. I like to start at 100. Well, we'll do 90. So the cool thing about that is that it will go ahead and pitch the nose of the plane up as high as it can and consider the airspeed. Because for this particular plane, things go bad once you start getting below 60, or it starts to stall around 60. And what I've noticed is that once you reach your cruising altitude, and the nose of the plane is pitched back down to something that's stable, you start to pick up speed. And I've cruised a couple times at about 100 knots. So 90, it'll take us a while to get to 13,000, but it'll do it. Now the barometer is important, because there was one time where I took off and I didn't set it, and I reached 16,000, but air traffic controller kept telling me that I was 300 feet above my cruising altitude, and it just kept telling me. It was pretty annoying. So after a while, I was like, oh, I think it's my barometer, because I've seen that when you change the barometer, it changes these readings. So I think when I'm ready to take off, it'll give me a barometer reading, because of that value, that max and min value glitch. I don't like changing the barometer while I'm in flight, because it throws off my GPS. So what I did was I ended up descending down to 15,700 feet, and they stopped bugging me. So the barometer seems to have some sort of function. Alright, so back on autopilot. So we have our FLC mode checked. We're going to be working with our GPS, so we'll turn nav mode on, and that's basically it. So once we get into the sky and we're ready to have autopilot run the show, I'll just turn on autopilot, and it'll start the climb to 13,000 while keeping the airspeed around 90 knots, and it'll stay on the magenta line. So I won't have to mess around with trim. I don't have to keep the plane on the line. It'll do it for me. So it's really convenient. Alright, so I think I'm ready. Let's go ahead and do this. I've seen fuel pump. What I've seen someone do is I think this kind of bleeds it or primes it, because that is a very annoying sound. And I don't even have to have the throttle on all the way, or at all. I have my mixture and my propeller going, and then the plane will turn on. I'm going to put my parking brake on. When I do the parking brake, sometimes you'll see that the dot goes away. So I'm pushing in the left thumbstick in order to, I guess, get the toolbar, and then I can interact with the toolbar. But there's basically a lot of resetting of the UI that you have to do. So that's there. I think I have everything ready to go. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get taxiing instructions on ground. So right now I'm on 118.0. I'm going to switch to 121.750, which I could do it here with this tuner. It's, convenient here, but request taxi IFR.
Atlanta ground, Beechcraft November 42 Juliet Alpha with Kilo ready to taxi IFR.
Beechcraft November 42 Juliet Alpha taxi to and hold short of runway 8 right using taxiway cross runway 8 left. Contact tower on 119.1 when ready.
Alright, gonna acknowledge what they said.
Runway 8 right via taxiway cross runway 8 left Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to 8 right crossway. So I'm gonna cross a runway 8 left. So SkyVector has really good maps. I'm using The only function that works in this map control here is just the left and right trigger. It would be really nice to pan the map, but I can't do that. So 8. So where is 8? So north is down. So 8 is over here. So there's north. And this is 30. I think this is 30 because this is 180. This is 120. This is 60, 30. So 8 is somewhere down there. So the runways are here and here. Oh, I didn't. Is that right? This is the first time I'm seeing this. Oh, that's cool. R8 right. Where am I supposed to be going? 8 left? Oh. Runway. Nope, I'm supposed to be going R right. Cool. I never realized that. So here's the runway right here. So I'll be cross. So I guess this is 8 left. This is 8 right. So I'm gonna take this runway all the way down here, and then I'm just gonna cross that and cross that. Okay. Well, that's cool. I did not. That makes that really easy. You have the ability to use an assistant to guide you, but I try not to use that. So landing and taxi guides, I try not to use it so I can kind of learn how to do this right, or just learn how to do it. All right, the people that were here left. So I'm gonna end up taking this. This taxiway. Alright, so it's using the A button to accelerate. Oh, funny. I'm using the left directional pad to take off my parking brake. I try and taxi around in between 1,000 and 1,200 RPMs, and my RPM I can gauge, I can see is right here. Ooh. Ground should have said something. Did I clip move my wings? Nope. Okay. It's just like Atlanta traffic. Alright, so I want to follow this yellow line here. Sometimes I have good days and bad days with this thing. So I'm going to try and brake to help me turn a little better. A little tighter. To get back to that yellow line. Doing about 1190. So there goes 8L is on the right hand side. This thing veers off. These planes, they veer to one side. I don't know the science behind it. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the propellers. As it's spinning, then there's some science there that's telling it to veer to one side. Not sure. Maybe they just all need alignment. Okay, so they just told me to hold off, so I'm braking, putting my RPMs down, and I should acknowledge. So I have a keypad, so I'm going to push the 1
Hold position
to
Beechcraft
acknowledge
to Juliet Alpha.
And there's this. So generic is a generic. Let me hold it again. Let me acknowledge these fools.
Hold position Beechcraft to Juliet Alpha.
And I'm like, what is this generic that I'm holding for? And actually, it's one of the planes, because I think I'm going to be crossing 8L soon, and they don't want me crashing into the plane. So I find it, I don't know, it's a bit of a time waster, but it's also nice to interact with ATC and the environment. It brings a little bit of realism to it. So what I don't know if the plane is down. No, the plane's over here, or it'll eventually land over here. And then sometimes if it's taking too long, I'll just go anyway. But it's basically saying that there is a generic, that there's a flight on its final landing path, I guess. Normally I should be able to see it. You know, it's a game. Things glitch. Alright, I'm going to continue on with my life. Oh, there it is. There's the plane. So as ATC starts talking, I'm going to be hitting 1 to acknowledge. Oh. That was unexpected.
Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha, hold position, caution, the generic on final.
Alright, so I don't think I'm going to hold anymore because that generic, where'd it go? That one, that plane over there looks like it's...
Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha, did you hear my last transmission?
Oh, they just want me to acknowledge some more.
Hold position Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha.
Hold on a minute, let me put myself on mute. Alright, so I don't know what they're doing, so I think these guys are drunk, so I'm just gonna move on. Let's get this RPMs back up to 1200. Is my parking brake on? Yeah, parking brake's on. So now it's at 1300, so I'm tapping the B button to kind of put the throttle down some.
Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha, hold position, caution, the generic on final.
So I'm gonna go ahead and acknowledge it, but I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
Hold position Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha.
That's what I'm telling them. I'm doing something different. Forget you guys. I've lost confidence in you. Alright, so the plan is, without hopefully crashing into another plane, is to cross this runway and get into the other runway. So I'm at 1200. I'm taking the corner decent. Alright, I think if there is a plane, it'll just appear out of nowhere.
Beechcraft 2 Juliet Alpha, continue taxi.
Oh yeah? Continue taxiing? Alright, sounds good. So this is where I get confused. I think I should have done a better job. So here's 8R.
So that brings us to the end of this session. Like and subscribe if you learned a thing or two about getting ready for your flight on the Xbox. In the next session, I'll finally take off and make my way west. Oh, and the game crashes in the middle of my flight. Oh, how will I ever recover? This is Tabletop Android, signing off.